everyone, I'm Jenny Stanley from Appetite Creative, and we are the global leading connected packaging studio. And what we want to talk to you about today is how connected packaging is really fundamental to the changes in packaging, to communicating with your customers, and really how you can use connected packaging so much better. So thank you very much, Sustainable Packaging News, for this opportunity, and hopefully you can all sit with me for the next 15 minutes where I take you through what is next in connected packaging and how it can help you. So what is connected packaging? Connected packaging is putting QR codes or NFC tags onto your packaging, and these codes can actually help the brand connect with the audience. That direct connection can therefore be this communication gateway in which we can talk about sustainable packaging innovation. We can talk about what we want the consumer to do. I'm sure through a lot of the presentations that you'll see today, there's a lot of talk about changes, but the most important thing I feel, and we feel at Appetite Creative, is being able to include that customer on the journey. If you're changing the packaging, tell them about it. If you're doing something new, tell them about it. If you don't want to be branded as greenwashing, involve your consumer. And this is how we want to help you to be able to see how you can use connected packaging as your media channel. Why? You might want to, as we were very much talking about, drive awareness about a new packaging change. You might want to drive awareness about some new sustainability credentials. You definitely want to engage your consumer, and you can do so when they directly have your product in their hand. And of course, educate them. Educate them. Is it about the new tethered caps? How do they use these caps? Why are these caps here? Is it about educating them about something you want them to do with the packaging? This is really your ability to be able to communicate directly with the consumer. Secondly, drive sales. We know that on average, connected packaging actually drives sales by 20%. So it's not just about doing the right thing, it's also about driving sales. And then lastly, collecting first-party analytics. Everything we do, we have the ability to be able to collect that information, to be able to see who's scanning, when did they scan, where did they scan. If they register, we're able to know whether they're male, they're female, whether they're 15 years old or 50 years old. This is super important information for you to be able to understand so much more about your consumer. If you can know who your consumers are, you can sell better to them. And of course, if you can understand what they understand in terms of sustainability or recycling, then you can also communicate better to them. So this is a little screenshot from the platform. And I talk about 20% increase in sales, and that of course is something which is not just our stat, but actually a stat which is verified by Tetra Pak, and they tell us that on average a 20% uplift is seen in the sales. So I want to take you through 4 really quick ways of being able to use connected packaging for your sustainability messaging or projects. So first of all, let's talk about education and positioning. And here I'm going to take you to Woodlands Dairy. So Woodlands Dairy is a leading dairy, and what they wanted to do, based on some insights from that agency, was really position them as a caring, looking after the planet dairy brand. So what we did, because we had no idea in terms of what the consumer actually knew in terms of recycling, was actually started very, very simply with a quiz. So users would scan the QR codes on the packaging and answer some quick questions about sustainability. There was something like 30 questions in the back end, and every time they came to the quiz, they had the ability to answer 3 or maybe 4 questions. And then they were entered into a prize draw. In addition to that, they also had a sustainability booklet that they could download. The quiz was that we gave extra context to the consumer, so we were educating them at the same time. So for example, what does plant-based plastic mean? And here you can see whether you got the answer wrong, you were given some information about that, and if you got the answer correct, you were given some more information about that as well. So we really wanted to educate the consumer, at the same time, of course, saving all of that information, so understanding actually what level of education consumers have. They were then added to a leaderboard, and every week over the 3-month campaign, we actually chose a random winner who would win some shopping vouchers. So there was an incentive there as well. However, what was really, really interesting about this, of course, is that there was 2 minutes 14 seconds engagement time on average. Some people massively exceeding that. I think I saw some stats well over 10 minutes. So people were engaging, people were definitely replaying, people were really interested in this. They over exceeded their target for sustainability booklet downloads as well. And probably most importantly for the brand, they actually increased their sales by 30% when comparing the campaign period year on year. And I think it's probably important to note there as well that not only is it an increase in sales, but also due to inflation, the price has massively gone up as well, as in the price of materials and the price of the product, yet we still were able to get that increase in sales. In addition to that, that increase in sales also lasted and then started to taper off for 2 months afterwards as well. So there's definitely a positive impact when we start talking about connected packaging and the communication. Here we're moving, as I say, to education of new packaging. So maybe actually what you're doing is changing your packaging. You're making your packaging more sustainability or more friendly to the planet, and that's exactly what Elopak and Don Simon did. So what they did was they changed their packaging to this new carton, which you can see on screen. And this new carton actually has taken away the aluminium layer inside. But if you look at it, as any other consumer, looking at that carton against any other carton on the shelves, there's no way to be able to tell that. So what we wanted to do was raise awareness of this new initiative, talk about this new aluminium-free carton, which Don Simon was starting to use for their beverages. They also wanted, of course, to collect data from their consumers. They wanted to understand about their preferences, their values, test their knowledge and address the gaps. And of course, drive sales and consumer reach. So how did we do that? So we did that, of course, through QR codes. And QR codes were placed onto the packaging. There was also a supporting point of sale and also social media campaign as well. So when consumers scanned the QR code, they came through on a personalised experience, personalised for the flavour that they came in on. They had the ability to register immediately or skip, but if they did skip, we did say they did not have the possibility then to collect points. We saw over 60% of people then go back and actually register, so there's a great trick there. Here's the personalisation, so depending on the SKU that they scan in on, depends the colour of the experience that they have. So personalisation per product is possible. Once they're into the experience, and of course they only register once and then are automatically delivered into the experience, there are 3 different areas in which they can experience. Looking after you, looking after the planet, and tell me more. Looking after you was the research part. So here we asked consumers where they purchased their product, what was their favourite flavour, what flavour had they never tried, how often do they consume the product. So really, really interesting information in terms of preferences and consumer behaviour. Each time they answered a question, they were given coins. If we move then to the second part is looking after the planet. And here we actually used 5 mini games to educate the consumer all about the different initiatives that this packaging and this brand do in order to be able to support the planet and sustainability practices. So here in the first one you can see there's the truck. You need to pick up the sustainable products, the sustainable trees, and then as you move to the next one you need to select the correct materials that make up the carton. Does it have aluminium? Does it not? Is it with bleached carton? Is it not? So very, very simple games, very, very easy for the consumer to be able to understand without reading a whole list of instructions, but also at the same time actually educating them through gamification. Every game they played was against the clock, and again they were able to collect coins. Lastly, the third area is Tell Me More. And Tell Me More, very, very simply, is videos and content in which the consumer could read more or watch more about Don Simon, about the packaging, and be able to learn. Again, they were rewarded with coins if they watched or interacted with this content. So in the end, the consumer actually has this loyalty program now, this wallet of coins. What are they able to do with that? They are able to exchange those coins for prizes. So do they want discount vouchers? And those discount vouchers can be exchanged on the e-commerce website of Don Simon. Or would they rather exchange those coins for tickets into the raffle to win a trip to Spain, which is where the orange groves are? In addition to that, you can see that there's also an offer for something free, a soya light for free. We are offering this particular product to this particular consumer because that is the flavour they say they've not tried. So here we have the ability to be able to encourage trial. We have the ability to drive people to purchase online, as the discount vouchers were only for the online store. And we have the ability to be able to track the motivation for which the consumers prefer. Do they prefer the discount vouchers, or do they prefer being entered into a raffle? So here you can see how there is this loyalty program at the same time as educating, engaging, learning about the consumer. Everything is going on here. The e-commerce redirection, but also there was also the ability to be able to share to social media as well, and of course being rewarded for doing so, which of course gets us the extra amplification as well. So there's a lot of things in here, but hopefully you're following me and can really see the potential for using your packaging as this communication tool, this communication gateway. Next, I want to talk about traceability. And I think this is number 3. This is what we really should be thinking about in terms of being open with our consumers. And here we have the ability to really tell people where the products come from. In this particular instance, we actually went to the level of manufacturing, packaging and dispatch, where you can actually see the crop details, the farmer, the weather conditions. When you're on the packaging level, you can see the packaging name, you can see the time that it was packaged, the finished material tests, the dispatch, who was the dispatcher, at what time was that dispatched, and on what date. So this is all about traceability. So here I'm just going to show you a couple of examples of this. So as the user scans the QR code, they have the ability to really understand where this product's come from and that process that that product has been through. So here you can see in the manufacturing, you can see about the farmer, you can see the weather conditions, you can also see exactly the area from which this has come from. This is for wood-pressed coconut oil. So this is really, really important for the consumer to be able to understand where it's come from, and for the brand it's really important for that trust and transparency that they really stand for. So this is on the manufacturing level. We can even go down into the packaging level, and here you can see who the packager was, the time at which this product was packaged, and also the finished material level results. Every single product is not tested, just to give a little caveat. This is for the product in general in terms of the finished material test results. Not every single product gets a separate test. You probably guessed that. And then dispatch. So again, in the same way, we're able to really give that information. When was this dispatched? By whom was this dispatched? For time and date. Again, this is a great way to be able to build trust with your consumers and give transparency. And this is number 3 in terms of connected packaging for sustainability and recycling. And lastly, I want to talk to you about deposit return. So I've tried to take you through the whole journey. I'm hoping that you're staying with me. So here we're talking about deposit return systems or recycling systems. Of course, when we have the QR code on the packaging, we have the ability to be able to see, to be able to talk to that consumer directly. So what better way than to explain to them what you want them to do with that packaging? Either you want them to recycle it and put it in a particular bin, or you want them to return it somewhere. And here we have the customer and recycle centre journey, where we have the ability to reward the consumer for the action that they take. So in this instance, this is actually for returning cartons. So here you scan the QR code label. You have options to be able to find your nearest return centre, which is connected with Google Maps. You have some questions, you have a game to play from which you can be added to a leaderboard and then rewarded. And obviously we have the recycle centre journey, which scans those cartons, which then verifies to which that carton was registered from the customer, and allocates points or rewards to that particular customer. So this can be a reward system, this could be a cash system, this could be any type of system in which you are returning your reward to your consumer. But the best thing here, of course, is that you have the ability to spend the time explaining, and secondly, you have the ability to be able to report on actually the success of the program. So this is really, really important for me. And I think this is something that is going to be moving forward so much more. Of course, there is different ways to be able to do the return. You can also do the return as an automated vending or a manual return. And there's so many different ways in which that can be done. Basically, the consumer takes their QR code, scans in their product, and once they are registered, they are into the system. So when the return centre or the recycle centre identifies that, they are then given their reward into the system. So I hope that's all made sense. I hope I've been able to give you lots of different ways in which you can use connected packaging for recycling and sustainability. We can educate our consumers, we can guide our consumers, we can reward our consumers, we can help change that consumer behaviour by turning the packaging into our digital gateway, our communication channel. So I think there's lots of things there for you to think about, at least I hope so. And here are some lovely resources. Do check it out, or come and find me either on LinkedIn, Jenny Stanley, or our website, Appetite Creative. Thanks very much.